This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist CJ Cartledge.
And welcome back on to the KSLA First Alert Weather Breakdown. I am meteorologist CJ Cartledge here for your Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Happy second day of September. I hope you guys had a great start to the work week yesterday, or yesterday was Labor Day, actually. I hope you guys are having a great start to this new work week here for your Tuesday as everybody heads on back to work and to school. I know you guys are just think that the weekend wasn't too long enough, but it's back to work now. So I hope you guys had a great commute to work and the weather was cooperating for you guys, of course. But as we move through the rest of today, we should see mostly dry conditions across the area. Here's the topics that we're going to be talking about for today here on the KSLA First Alert Weather Breakdown. We're going to be diving into the local forecast once again across the region, talking about the very slim rain chances that we could see across the area, as well as the tropics. Yes, today is Tropic Tuesday. That may be a new segment here on the KSA First Alert Weather Breakdown because we usually talk about the tropics here on Tuesday. So why not? Tropic Tuesday is today here on the KSLA First Alert Weather Breakdown. So let's dive right into the forecast here. We're talking about mostly clear skies for today, as you can see, or at least right now through our KSLA Tower camera sponsored by Mattress Plus. We are looking at mostly clear skies across the ArkLaTex, maybe a few clouds in the distance in the northern half of the ArkLaTex. I know there are a few rain showers out there in the northern half of the region, but everywhere else across the ArkLaTex is dealing with mostly dry conditions here for the area. But as we move towards, actually yesterday, this is something I didn't mention here on the KSLA First Alert Weather Breakdown, which was a meteorological holiday per se. Yesterday was the first day of meteorological fall. I'm going to move myself out of the way here so you guys can see the full graphic. It was Monday, September 1st. Now, we have this holiday mainly because it's easier for us to meteorologists and everyone who keeps weather records to hold these weather records. If we just based it off of the actual astronomical seasons, which pretty much vary every year, the exact days that vary every year, we would have a hard time keeping records, and seasons would mix, days of seasons will mix with other seasons and from previous years. So it's much easier to do it this way with 3-month increments throughout the year, and this season, per se, meteorological season lasts from September 1st all the way until November 30th. So September, October, November is meteorological fall. So here's a look at the details and what this compares, or how this compares to astronomical fall, which is what the actual season is, how we usually go by seasons here. I'm going to move myself off the screen once again. Meteorological fall starts on September 21st as compared to September 22nd, which is when actual fall starts here, or astronomical fall. It's the astronomical fall is based on the Earth's position relative to the sun. As you may know, the Earth rotates around the sun, and it also spins in a circle. It pretty much spins in a circle, which gives us the night and day cycle. But it's also tilted at a 23.5 degree angle at all times. So when it's circulating around the sun at a 23.5 degree angle, that's how we get more sunlight rather than not so much sunlight here. Just depends on what side of the sun we are on at a certain point here. But the date range, or for normal fall, lasts from September 22nd all the way to December 21st. And as mentioned before, the exact day varies every year. I believe last year the astronomical fall fell on either the 21st or the 23rd. It usually ranges from the 21st to the 23rd of every 3-month increment. So March would be 21st to the 23rd for the start of spring. And same thing for December, and the same thing for June. So March is the 3rd month, June is the 6th month, September is the 9th month, December is the 12th month. So 3-month increments denote the seasons here. But for meteorological fall, it falls in a very, placed or easier method here in terms of the dates here. September 1st is always the start of meteorological fall, and the end normally is November 30th at all times at any year that goes by. And it's based on the temperature cycle from September 1st all the way to November 30th. The highs or average highs and average lows are going to start to decrease. They actually started to decrease a couple weeks ago here around the ArkLaTex. I believe our highest average high was 96, but it started to decrease to around 94 as of right now for our average high. So it's a little bit off, but we usually do in 3-month increments to make it easier for record keeping here for weather-wise here around the world and around the country as well. Here's a look at First Alert Doppler radar. And as you can see, we are dealing with mostly dry conditions with the exception of isolated showers or a batch of showers up there north of Texarkana, north of I-30. Pretty much the same picture as what we saw yesterday morning here around the ArkLaTex. And we're expecting mostly dry conditions through the day today as well. Here's a look at our temperatures right now across the region. We're looking at 84 by Shreveport, 85 by Mansfield, 80 near Texarkana, still in the 60s near DeQueen, mainly because of those rain showers up there. 75 for Idabel, 79 near Mount Pleasant. It looks to be around the lower 80s for most areas around I-20 and southward within East Texas. 82 by Natchitoches. Now, in terms of feels like temperatures, we are feeling some slight humidity out there with the exception of DeQueen, of course, but we are feeling a couple of degrees higher than actual temperatures right now. I believe 3 degrees higher near Natchitoches, around 5 degrees higher near Mansfield, around 3 to 5 degrees higher in Shreveport. Feels like 88 degrees. It feels like 86 for Carthage and Nacogdoches, and it feels like 84 over by Center in East Texas. Our afternoon planner for today shows that temperatures are going to rise into the lower 90s once again for most of the ArkLaTex, or at least a good part of the ArkLaTex. Most of our Louisiana parishes may hit the lower 90s for highs today, similar to what we saw for the past couple of days here in the ArkLaTex, but we could see the mid and upper 80s everywhere else across the region here. And as you can see, for our highs today around the region, we should see in the northern half of the ArkLaTex at least, mostly in the 80s there. Some even the lower 90s. 90 by Stamps, Texarkana, 89 by Magnolia, 89 also for Prescott, Hope, Nashville. Looks to be at around 85, looking to be the coolest in this vicinity near Broken Bow over in not East Texas, but McCurtain County. 93 looks to be the high for Henderson. 89 for Nacogdoches, Chirano, Center, St. Augustine. 88 for Carthage, and 90 over by Hemphill and over in northwest Louisiana. 90 by Coshada, 90 for Mansfield and Shreveport, 89 by Converse and Manny as well, 86 over by Ruston. Here's a look at future track and what we can expect in terms of rain showers that will be possible through the daytime hours. We're going to see mostly clear conditions out there across the ArkLaTex with the exception of isolated showers. Maybe a shower or two may hit your area, so don't be surprised if it does, but we have very low rain chances for that. Heading through the overnight hours, we could see more isolated showers across the region here. It's not expected to go away according to this model, but it's still going to be mostly dry. For the most part, you're going to not receive any rain showers through the overnight hours. Heading towards the afternoon, that's when that cold front finally makes its way through the ArkLaTex, moving in from the north and west here. As you can see by the wind direction, it's going to be moving in from the north and west and moving down to the south and east here. That's exactly where it's going to be heading if you saw the past couple of runs there. As you can see there, heading into Wednesday, that's when our weak cold front starts to move through. It's going to be pushing northerly winds into the ArkLaTex, causing slightly cooler conditions heading into our afternoon on Wednesday and as well as Thursday. We could see some higher temperatures around the ArkLaTex here, but it's supposed to bring some temporarily cooler conditions here around the ArkLaTex for at least Wednesday before temperatures start to rise. Here's how high temperatures may rise as we move through the rest of the week, though. Heading into our Wednesday, 92 looks to be the high, so a bit warmer out there, but some areas like up to the far north and west may see slightly cooler conditions. Heading towards our Thursday and Friday, we could reach above the average for this time of year. That average is 94 degrees, as mentioned before, 95 to 96 for our Thursday and Friday. We could see some areas get slightly higher than that. and we could see most areas get reach into the low to mid 90s across the region. And as we move into our Saturday this weekend, that's when our second cold front finally moves through the ArkLaTex, bringing temperatures down towards the below average range once again to the low to mid 80s across the region, and even lower than that heading into our Sunday and Monday. Maybe a few areas may reach the upper 70s, upper 80s out there by Saturday, low to mid 80s heading into our Sunday and Monday. We could very well see a couple areas only reach the upper 70s out there. So definitely feeling like fall for sure, or giving a taste of fall as we head into this weekend with little to no rain on the way for us here around the ArkLaTex. Here's a look at how the humidity will be affected associated with this more substantial cold front heading into this weekend. And as you can see, for the next 7 days, or at least through the next 4 days ahead, remains fairly consistent here in the sticky range, possibly getting close to that oppressive range. Heading into our Friday, the humidity increases as southerly flow looks to return, but that's when, as we head into the weekend, we should see that humidity drop to the comfortable range heading into our Monday. So that means little to no humidity, and feels like temperatures will be very close to actual temperatures. We won't be seeing much humidity out there. Here's a look at rain chances for the next 7 days. 10% for our Wednesday. Slim to no rain chances heading into our Thursday and Friday. I believe today has a 20% chance for rain here, but mainly isolated showers and storms are possible as we move through today and tomorrow. So hit or miss type of showers. Heading into our Thursday and Friday, not much rain is expected, if any at all. Heading into our Saturday, after the cold front moves through, we'll be dealing with more isolated showers and storms here across the ArkLaTex. And once again, with low severe level, low severity associated with these storms that will be possible. Heading into our next work week, we should see rain chances try to diminish across the region here. Now, our rainfall potential as a result won't be much, possibly upwards of an inch or close to an inch of rain at the highest for areas in the far northern portions of the ArkLaTex. And as you can see, down up to the far north and west outside of our region is expected to get much more rainfall as compared to us here in the ArkLaTex. Maybe up to a quarter inch of rain for most of our Louisiana parishes, and up to half an inch for most of for some localized areas. East Texas may get up to 3/4 of an inch. And as mentioned before, around an inch of rain for areas to the far northern portions of the region. Here's a look at our 7-day forecast, though. We are expecting lower 90s for our Tuesday and Wednesday, and mid and upper 80s as well. We could, as mentioned before, 20% chance for rain, 10% by Wednesday. No rain chances heading into our Thursday and Friday as temperatures make their way back above the average slightly heading into the rest of the work week, or at least the end of the work week. We could see storm chances rise heading into the weekend, despite the cool down that we will see. And as you can see, we may see temperatures drop nearly 10 degrees below as compared to what we will see as compared to Friday and into Saturday. As you can see, 96 to 87 for highs, and as you can see, those lows will drop as well from the 70s into the upper 60s out there. We could see slightly cooler conditions heading into our Sunday and Monday as well. So that's it about the local forecast. We're going to take things over to the tropics coming up right after this quick break. So make sure to stay tuned for that, because storms are brewing out there, and the one storm has made some rapid development throughout the past 12 hours here in the not in the ArkLaTex, thankfully not in the ArkLaTex, but out there in the tropics. But we'll be back right after this quick break. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back. Here is a look at the tropics as of right now. There is a high chance now of development of this tropical system out there in the Atlantic through the next 7 days. And this is as of the 8 a.m. Eastern Time advisory. There is a tropical wave moving off the coastlines of West Africa as of right now. It's moving farther away from the West African coast and into more warmer waters there in the Atlantic, and that chance has been bumped up by a lot as compared to 24 hours ago. We're only set at a 40% chance and not a chance at all through the next 2 days, but now it stands at a 70% chance of formation through the next 7 days and 30% chance within the next 2 days. So low chance within the next 2 days and a high chance within the next 7 days. So in the next 3 to 7 days, we could very well see our next named storm here in the Atlantic here. But it still was far away from the ArkLaTex and far away from any types of United States landfall as of right now. So nothing to worry about through the next 7 days here for the United States and for the ArkLaTex. Here's a live look at it through our infrared satellite. And as you can see, zooming into that red X there, there's not much thunderstorm activity. There may be a bit thunderstorm activity just to the west of it, but that red X denotes where exactly that circulation is starting to form. And the main components for a tropical system to form is a closed circulation and wind speeds, maximum wind speeds up to 39 miles per hour at the least here. That's the least amount of, that's the baseline criteria for a tropical storm, and it has to be located obviously in the tropics in the Atlantic Ocean. That's the criteria for it, but right now it doesn't seem to have a closed area of circulation, not much thunderstorm activity, and the central winds aren't as high as 39 miles per hour pretty much. So it's not even a depression right now, I don't believe. It's not even invest. An invest is something, is a storm that, is denoted by the National Hurricane Center that they may be watching for the high potential of a tropical system. But I believe that percentage there for the next 48 hours will have to be raised a bit higher for it to be denoted as an invest here. But right now, it still has a high chance of formation within the next 7 days. So we'll continue to definitely watch this as we move through the next couple of days ahead here. And that's pretty much on track with the Climate Prediction Center's outlook for the next 7 or 6 to 10 days, not 6 to 10 days, but the next 7 days, as well as the next 14 days ahead. So this is the outlook for September 3rd through the 9th. This outlook was actually posted, or this forecast was made on August 26th. So around a week ago from today. We're expected to get a new outlook tomorrow, because tomorrow is September 3rd, obviously. So, but as we move through September 3rd to 9th, as of August 26th, there's a 20 to 40% chance of tropical formation in this pink zone that you see here on the screen, which is where exactly this tropical system that now has a 70% chance of formation is headed into. So conditions are definitely conducive for tropical development there in the Atlantic. But as we move through September 10th through the 16th, so that's the next week afterwards, that chance increases. So there's definitely a pretty good chance that we may see our next named storm form through the next 7 to 14 days here out in the Atlantic. There's a 40% to 60% chance of development in that same zone. And there's also a 20 to 40% chance of formation within the Caribbean Sea, as well as the Gulf of Mexico. Now, if anything goes in the Gulf of Mexico, it's bound to rapidly intense, like Hurricane Aaron did. It encountered very warm waters by the Cabo Verde Islands and the Lesser Antilles, and it increased from a Category 1 to a Category 5 within 24 hours. But as you can see, moving into the Gulf of Mexico, I'm going to move this right on back. In the Gulf, if anything moves in the Gulf of Mexico or tries to form in the Gulf of Mexico, it'll be encountering very warm waters out there, or very warm sea surface temperatures. And warm waters gives hurricanes or tropical systems fuel to strengthen rapidly here. We're dealing with 88-degree sea surface temperatures right in the middle of the Atlantic, and mid and upper 80s pretty much along the sea surface there in the not in the Atlantic, but in the Gulf right now. So make sure make sure to watch the forecast very, very closely through the next 2 weeks, especially as we approach the peak time for peak activity for this year's hurricane season as compared to the average for this time of year. And actually, that peak is, I believe, September 10th here. Here's where we stand as of right now. But currently, we are at September 2nd. This is where we stand today. And a good amount of tropical storms have formed. A good amount of hurricanes have formed, as you can see by the darker red color. And a good amount of major hurricanes, possibly nearly the most amount of major hurricanes have formed near this day here. I believe it was on September 4th through 5th. I believe that looks like, or very close to it. But here we are, September 2nd, where a good amount of storms have formed during this time of year in years past. This average, or this data is averaged out from 1991 to 2020, so it's from a 30-year average. And this may be updated within the next 5 years or so for a new 30-year average. But in recent years past, the past 35 years here in the Atlantic, a good amount of storms have formed during this time of year. And the peak activity, the day of peak activity, where the most storms have formed or was present out there in the Atlantic, was September 10th. So we are approaching that date. And as you can see, there are some high chances for tropical storm formation through the time frame of September 10th through September 16th. So we'll have to watch that very closely. I want to show you guys this Saharan dust map. I'm going to show you guys this mainly because of the area of circulation that I want to show you guys on this map that was displayed here that may denote that something may form out in there in the Atlantic through the next couple of days or so, 3 to 7 days. As you can see, not much is really formed, but those lightish red colors denote the heavier amounts of Saharan dust in the air. But you can also see tropical systems out there start to develop or start to circulate with this model. So I want to show you guys as we move into our Wednesday, that Saharan dust will slowly make its way into the Atlantic, and this actually inhibits or prevents tropical storm trends or formation out there. So as you can see, there is a little bit of circulation starting just by, or not the, that is, I mentioned the Cabo Verde Islands before, but those areas right off the coast of Africa are the Cabo Verde Islands. I was talking about the Lesser Antilles, but anyway, we are going to see a little bit of some tropical storm formation out there in the Atlantic. As you can see at the bottom corner of your screen, a little bit of a counterclockwise motion. And as you can see by the darker colors there, I wish I could write on here, but the darker colors there that you see on the screen at the bottom of your screen, that's overlapping, or you see the brown colors are starting to overlap with the blue colors. Or not the brown, but the orange colors are starting to overlap with the blue colors, and the yellow colors there, that denotes that something may start to form by the time we hit this weekend and into the next work week. So we'll have to watch that very, very closely as we get closer in time. And here's a look at the 2025 hurricane season outlook in the Atlantic Basin here. The National Weather Service, or NOAA, their prediction, they decreased their numbers a bit, mainly due to the slow start that we had to this season. They only predict 13 to 18 named storms, 5 to 9 hurricanes, and 2 to 5 major hurricanes. And I believe they bumped these numbers down by 1 each. But the CSU prediction, they also bumped those numbers down by 1 each. They were expecting 17, 9, and 4 at the start of the season, but now they're at 16 named. They're forecasting for 16 named storms, 8 hurricanes, and 3 major hurricanes. So if we look at the tropical storm name list for this 2025 Atlantic hurricane season, that brings us up to a cap of Sebastian. So they're forecasting at the highest for us to reach the name of Sebastian. And as we enter the peak time for this year's hurricane season, we have gone through 6 named storms, and the next name on the list to form, or that may form, will be Gabrielle. So if that storm out there in the Atlantic that has a high chance of formation within the next 7 days becomes a tropical storm with all of its baseline criteria, it becomes Gabrielle instead of a regular Invest or anything else. It will become Gabrielle, Tropical Storm Gabrielle. But we still have Humberto, Imelda, Jerry, Karen, Lorenzo, Melissa, Nestor, Olga, Pablo, Rebecca, and Sebastian. We may not get through all of these names here, but we could also get have more storms than that. That's just a forecast here. That's not exactly what's going to that's not necessarily exactly what's going to happen. That's just the range that we believe, or the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration believes may form. That's how many storms that they believe may form out there in the Atlantic this year. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the KSLA First Alert Weather Breakdown. Meteorologist Evan Thomason will be on the breakdown starting tomorrow, this week, starting tomorrow and through the rest of the week. So he'll have, we actually have a Met Chat for tomorrow. We'll be talking about a topic that remains a surprise for you guys. So make sure to tune into tomorrow's episode at 10:30 a.m. where you'll see me, Evan, as well as Chief Meteorologist Matt Jones on the Met Chat once again. We'll have a couple more topics as we move through the rest of this work week, so make sure to stay tuned in for that. The podcast runs every weekday at 10:30 a.m. Thank you guys so much once again for tuning in today, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, a great rest of your Tuesday, and a great rest of your week as well. I'll be on the shows at noon and 4 p.m. today if you guys want to watch me. Once again, have a great rest of your day.